And we're moving on now to some other news. In fact, this is the latest study that's been conducted by AIIMS. The Indian Council of Medical Research has concluded that gargle may be a viable alternative to swabs for detection of COVID-19. ICMR says that the adoption of gargle lavage as a sample is something that can be used and can enable self-collection easily. It can also relieve healthcare workers. The sample collection method can lead to a substantial cost saving as well by reducing the need for swabs and personal protective equipment at this point in time. Let me, in fact, go across to Ayushman, who's joining us for more details. Ayushman, if you can take us through the details here, what exactly is the study highlighting? Because this will prove to be extremely important on multiple fronts.
In fact, this study has been conducted by All India Institute of Medical Science in the month of May and June for about 30 days. This study was conducted on 50 confirmed patients, and their gargle lavage was taken, and that was put in. The study was conducted for that if the detection was being done or not for the COVID infection. And the study suggests that even not just the nasopharyngeal swab, which we have seen in the visuals where the stick is being put in the nose or also in throat to take the swab. And that requires actually the healthcare workers to wear the protective equipment. Now, here in this study, it has been said that even the gargle lavage can also be used. That will equally provide the infection prevalence can be caught, and that is which is something it is in the possible range. Currently the study has been limited. This has been the paper that has been published in Indian Council of Medical Research Indian Journal, and currently Avni, we are being told that this can possibly be a method in which the healthcare workers who are already very much occupied, and also PP cost is going up, and it is very technically very challenged method. So in that case, if you see the gargle lavage, if people can actually rinsed water from mouth can be used as a sample to detect COVID infection. This study probably hints at that. There's a research that is already going on in America regarding this, and the FDA is still looking into that. But for now, in India, this for the first time that happened, and it has been hinted that instead of the nasopharyngeal swab, the gargle lavage can also be used, and it can possibly help in detection of COVID infection.
All right, Ayushman, do stay with us. I'll come back to you, but let me first go across to Apurva, who's also with us. Apurva, if you can take us through the differences between, swabs and this collecting gargle samples as well. What is the kind of differences that you can tell us?
That's right, Avni, and what we're looking at is an alternative study that has been conducted by the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and as you said, this can definitely have a lot of backing as well, and can also go a long way, because right now we're going to be looking at the differences as to why this is going to be important in the future. Now, if we talk about swab tests that has been conducted now, it is right now expensive, and it cannot be done by a layman. It requires a specialized, trained healthcare workers who can conduct those swab tests. Now, it exposes the healthcare workers to the virus as well, which is something that is extremely important to note and something of critical aspect here. Now, it is also of poor patients' acceptability because of the fact that there are trained personnel who will have to do it, and it also exposes those healthcare workers to the virus as well. Now, this is for moderate to severe level of discomfort that is experienced by anyone who goes for the swab test. And lastly, it needs a special infrastructure for collection. There has to be special containers where it has to be kept. So that adds up to the cost of the swab test. If we go to the gargled water, now the first and basic difference is that it is cost effective. It is very, very cost effective as compared to the swab test, which is expensive. The second important aspect is it can be easily performed by any patient. It does not really require a specialized healthcare personnel to be there assisting. It can be done by any patient. Now, healthcare workers are not really exposed to any kind of virus as opposed to the healthcare workers who are opposed to the virus when it comes to the swab test. Now, it may have better patient patient acceptability rate as well, as the discomfort level will be relatively less. Now, there is for the mild level of discomfort that is reported, and also there is no need for any kind of special infrastructure. So this essentially is the key difference between swabs and the gargled water.
All right, Apurva, thank you so much for taking us through all of those details. Let me very quickly go back to Ayushman here. Ayushman, you know, what's going to now be the next step here? Obviously, these are extremely important, an extremely important study that's been conducted. But in terms of taking it now to the next step, do we know what is the way forward?
Well, Avni, this study which has been conducted only on 50 people. Definitely, there is a possibility that the government will look into it, and the ICMR will also look into the aspect as to how feasible can it be made. There'll be possibly, the experts at the ICMR have told us that possibly a larger sample size will be taken, and then the study will again be conducted to know the viability. And once that result comes, we will see that somewhere this will be employed on ground if it is found to be effective. Because if you see the population density in India in the rural areas as well as urban, it requires a large amount of health worker to go through for the swab test. And if this works out, that can be a game changer in testing strategy, and it can be easily made available. Even a layman can also do this, and the detection of virus can be done.
All right, Ayushman, thank you so much for joining us with all of those details. So, of course, this does require more studies going forward as well.